Also out this week is a new Image comic coming out today called Renato Jones, colon, the 1%. Nice.
Thanks.
Nicely done. I looked at that camera, so it
I just looked straight ahead.
ruined. We should do it again.
Okay.
Nah, we won't.
Great.
This book is created, written, drawn, colored, everything, and owned in bright, bold red font, as the cover says. Everything by creator Kaare Andrews, who, strangely enough, was nice enough to sit down with us, virtually, of course.
Yes.
And by us, I mean me.
I mean you.
For like a quick interview. We kind of crossed paths via Twitter. I asked him if he would be up for answering a couple questions, said I was a big fan. He's like, yeah, absolutely. And he's like the most chill, laid-back dude.
Yeah.
Like, he's made comics, he's directed a couple feature films, and he's like, yeah, why not? So, we Skyped a bit.
And blew our collective minds.
Yes. It gave me a false sense that everyone out there would be like this, so now I'm getting a little upset when I ask people and they don't want to talk to me. I'm like, fuck's his problem? Not everyone's as nice as Kaare, apparently. Nope. My first encounter with your work was kind of when I was getting back into comics in college, and I was reading a lot of different Marvel titles, liking a lot of what I was reading, and it wasn't until years later that I realized and learned that you were the artist on many of these, yet they looked completely different. So very, very different style. It blew my mind when I found it was all coming from the same guy.
Yeah, well, when I decided to break into comics, you know, I'm pretty focused and pretty goal-driven and pretty aware, and I knew that the best way to do it was to create your own style and own that style. You know, like a car, like BMW, you kind of recognize a BMW car or a Mercedes car or a Ferrari or whatever that is. And then you trade up on that style and you build up your audience, and then, you know, that style is like your persona, and people look for it and recognize it, and it's what defines your whole career. But I just could never do it. I always felt so limiting to draw only one way, especially when I do other things. I paint and I sculpt and I paint in different media, and there's different ways to paint and different ways to sculpt and 1,000 ways to draw. And I also direct movies or whatever. I always felt too limited with trying to, find one way to draw. And I did worry about it a lot when I was breaking in. But at a certain point, I just decided that maybe my style will just be to have no style, and just just follow my interests wherever that leads me, and not be limited by a style. Every kid, every child makes stories naturally when they're given toys. They story tell, and every kid draws. Every kid does all this stuff, and for whatever reason, people stop. Either they're shamed out of it, or they're told not to, or whatever. They just lose interest or whatever. But I'm lucky enough where I can have a career doing the same things that we all did as kids. Oh yeah, Renato Jones, right? So this is my first true creator on comic book. And what it was before I broke in, I made a promise to myself to draw superhero stuff because I love it, and then draw creator own stuff and just bounce back and forth. And then when I started working in comics, that's when I decided to do the film thing instead, and that kind of took the place of the creator own stuff. So instead of jumping back and forth between superhero comics and creator own comic books, I ended up jumping back and forth between superhero comics and film projects, really. And I never really had time to do the creator own stuff until there came a point when it was just like, what am I, I need to do this. I promised myself I'd be doing this a long time ago. So I just did it. And this is my first time focusing on creator own books. And it's about a guy who hides amongst the super rich to judge them for their super rich crimes. It comes out in May 4th. It's fun. It's really a lot of fun to do. To just, for someone who likes to own all the processes.
Yeah.
Like for Renato Jones, I could just make my own ads. I can do all this crazy stuff.
It's a very unique ad campaign too. If you search Google it or anything like that, it's very eye-catching.
I call the luxury justice ad campaign, and those ads will be in the interiors of Renato Jones. So.
Oh, cool.
No effort wasted.
Well, awesome, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We'll definitely do kind of a discussion and a recap on the book when it hits the stands. And
I would love to hear what you thought about it. It's what's weird is, for me, it's just another comic book that I've written and drawn. But the people I've shared it with most of them have had like kind of like a big reaction to it. Like they all like it, but it's like I think maybe because it's not a superhero, even though I feel like I'm doing the same thing I always do.
Mm-hmm.
I think just the fact that he's not a classic superhero and I put him in this narrative, I think the reaction has been different.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's very interesting to me, for me to see that, knowing I'm just coming at it from the same place that I did with Iron Fist or Spider-Man or whatever. But
Oh yeah.
it's just the nature of the character is like the world is a little more violent and it's a little more satirical and humorous. So I'm very curious to see what the reaction is from the general public.
And that's got to be such a cool idea to be able to give someone something new that they haven't seen before. A creator, I mean, it's why you do a creator-owned project like this, but really, I mean, it's something that you own. It's never been on the market before. It is all you, whether they like it or hate it.
Yeah,
it's because of you. Like, there's no preconceived notions.
I put it right on the cover. I put I forget what I was written, drawn, or something. Created, written, drawn, and owned by
in red
by a car. Yeah,
yeah, I saw it. It was awesome.
For me, it's like that's part of the fun of it, you know.
Oh,
like
yeah.
with Spider-Man or Iron Fist, like I can take my turn and I can visit that character, but I'll never like own him, you know.
Right.
It's yeah. But with Renato Jones, I can. You know, I can keep those chains around him for a long
Oh
time.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, man. I don't have anything else, so I appreciate your time, and I'm definitely going to urge everybody to check it out, give it a shot. If not for anything other than this, the fact that you just agreed to chat with me for this, like,
that's
cool
right,
guy. That's
this
awesome.
interview,
It's the kind of guy you want to support.
Generates 2 comic book sales.
That's it. Yeah,
totally
at least.
At least. All right.
I feel bad. My buddy who I do the show with, he wasn't able to make it, so I was hoping maybe you could, just give a shout out to my co-host Troy, or tell him to eat shit. Either one. I'm sure he'd be happy with either.
Troy, here's a shout out to you to eat some poo.
All right. Oh man.
I kind of tried to combine everything.
He's pretty.
And I love it. I will not be eating the poop though.
Well. Maybe just a bite.
Maybe just a bite.
All right. So yeah, definitely everybody out there, pick up the 1%. Renato Jones, the 1%.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a comic book reader, like this guy was cool enough to just be like, sure.
Yeah.
I'll talk with this asshole from Dubuque. Yeah. With very little prompting.
Yeah.
Like went out of his way. Couldn't figure out the Skype thing on my end for a minute. He waited patiently. Awesome guy. Pick up the book just because of that. How many creators, directors out there would do that?
Yeah.
So give it a read, and then next week we'll chat about it. It'll be on the shelves. We'll have a chance to read it, and we'll talk about it on the next show. Hope it's good. Hope it doesn't suck.
That's on you.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be great.